Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Boyer's very first Copilot and Coffee. I'm Addie Rodman. I am Boyer's VP of Marketing, and joining me today, I have Matt Fleming, Boyer's VP of Technology, and Caleb Funderburk, who is Boyer's AI Product Development Lead. Say hi, guys.
Good afternoon.
Nice to meet you all.
Hi, yay. I get to use my favorite joke right now, which is, boy, are we super excited for this session. I don't get to use that enough. I don't do a ton of webinars, so bringing it to the audience today. But just quick overview, we are going to be spending the next 45 to 50 minutes talking about AI and Copilot and enjoying some coffee. There will be no demos, no formal scripts, and as few slides and buzzwords as we possibly can. Really just candid responses to those frequently asked questions that we, Matt, Caleb, and others are seeing the most from our clients as they relate to AI. So before we start, I know I said no slides, but for those of you who are new here, I am going to do a quick 30-second overview on who Boyer is, just for anybody that might be wondering what's a Boyer and why do I care about their point of view on AI and Copilot. So I am going to break our Copilot and Coffee rule of showcasing a slide, but it's because I'm in marketing. I'm a visual person, and I think I get a pass. So bear with me just for one really quick. I just want to explain who we are, and that's that for over 30 years, Boyer and Associates, we are a top Microsoft partner, and we've been providing technical consulting and support services for Microsoft's business applications and AI solutions. So that really means solution assessments, evaluations, implementations, customizations, cloud migrations, anything that ends in IONS, managed support services for Dynamics 365 and M365, Power Platform, and Copilot. So for those of you that aren't using those solutions today, maybe yet, that's your core CRM and ERP modules, Power Apps, Power BI, and even your Microsoft 365 business productivity and security tools like Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, Security. Why is that important? Because all of those solutions have one thing in common, and that is that they are all embedded with AI, which is why we're here today. So at Boyer, we really believe that AI and agents aren't just an add-on or a fancy chatbot. It's really become infused by design into every solution that we deliver. So that's why we have sessions like Copilot and Coffee, because we got to talk about it as much as we possibly can. And it doesn't always need to be a demo. So now that we've got that covered, I will share one last slide. It's just kind of housekeeping, just an overview of what to expect today on our very first Copilot and Coffee. So we needed to set up a little bit of structure. Otherwise, Matt, Caleb, and I would have just gone down a bunch of rabbit holes, probably started to argue, maybe would have hung up on one or the other, who knows. But what we did is we took the list of topics that you all requested we discuss when you registered, and we kind of bucketed them into some themes. Themes you see on the slide here. So AI usage and adoption. That's really how actual employees are really using AI and adopting it today. And we're going to share some real life examples of that and what we're seeing with our clients. You also wanted to hear us talk about the future of AI. What's our point of view on the future of an AI agent workforce and that frontier firm? There were also some questions around AI and security concerns. So we're going to cover the different AI solutions available. Are some more secure than others? And even then, how secure are they really when it comes to the data that we're giving them access to? Lastly, we'll make sure to insert some information around AI ROI, business value. That's super important to business leaders. And so where should businesses start when it comes to their strategic AI initiatives? And more importantly, how and when can you expect to see results once you have started? Whew. So anyways, I'm going to stop rambling. Again, that's another Copilot and Coffee rule, no rambles. But we do strongly encourage all of you to submit questions in the Q&A. If you're familiar with how to do that in Teams webinar, if you're not, go ahead and put it right in the chat. Katie is also here. She'll be monitoring those. And we're going to do our best to circle back at the end where we have held some time for Q&A. So if we run out of time and didn't get to your topic, we will happily set up time with you to discuss one-on-one. And we also do have our second episode of Copilot and Coffee scheduled, which will be October 16th. So we'll make sure to get it on the next one. Without further ado, Matt, Caleb, did I miss anything there?
I think
you covered
got us started well.
Cool. Awesome. I do see a question in the chat. What about the gift cards for coffee? Those are coming to you. Promise they are coming for you. Anybody that has already submitted a question should have received their Starbucks gift card. Anybody that didn't submit a question will receive it during or after the session. So I'm going to start with the most important question to Caleb and Matt that everybody wants to know. What are you drinking for Copilot and coffee today? Caleb, you first.
Matt, you first. I don't know
Yep.
if you guys have had them, but I found a box of these coconuts at Costco, and I've been addicted to them recently. So I drank probably a little too much coffee this morning, so I switched it up to coconut water.
Nice. Coconuts and Copilot. Matt, what do you got?
I don't think you can see it, but I've got my Jumbo Yeti. I'm past the Mountain Dew and caffeine hour, so I am on to good old-fashioned ice water.
Perfect. I love it. How long have either of you been using AI?
I've
Seems
been
like
using
forever.
it nonstop for at least the past 2 or 3 years. I'd say
Okay.
almost every single day.
Yep.
Yeah, and I would say I hopped on the wave right when ChatGPT kind of made its big thing. I was probably one of those users that was like the people that were helping to make ChatGPT fastest app on the web to 1 million users. So
Look at you guys. Yeah, everybody, don't let Caleb's baby face fool you. He is our AI guru around here, and both of them really. So just kind of back to housekeeping. And actually, you know what? I want to get rid of slides. I don't know how to do that. We'll figure that out later. I might know AI, but I know nothing about how to turn off these slides. But what I will say is they may get a little over our heads. I'm here to kind of act as facilitator. So I mean, we do have your questions compiled. And I do see, yes, Richard, this is a Tim Hortons coffee. I'm based in Canada here, so I'm pretending I'm at a Tim Hortons. I forgot to share what I was drinking. And I will share also what my experience with AI. Probably 3 years, about as long as Caleb. I would call myself an early adopter, but also by no means an expert on AI. So think of me as kind of your end user that can help take whatever Matt and Caleb say and put it in human terms if we need to. So I can wrangle them in if they start going down that technical jargon or if they start using AI buzzwords, although they probably get a few passes since they use some slides. So yeah, let's get into that first question today. A lot of people think that AI Copilot is just a fancy chatbot. Who wants to take that one?
I can knock that one out. So, Addie, I kind of agree with you. When talking to customers and different people who are starting to experiment with AI, it seems that a lot of people might think that Copilot is just potentially a fancy chatbot or a souped up search tool, like a better version of Google. But in reality, it's not. It's a work tool. And what makes it super powerful is not just the ability to answer questions or search the web, but the ability to actually act. So Copilot connects directly into the systems that your team might already be using. Example is like Outlook or Gmail, Teams or Slack, or your CRM or ERP system, whether that might be one of our favorites, Business Central, Dynamics FSEM, or if you're on NetSuite, SAP, you're on Salesforce or HubSpot. We're able to connect to a variety of these different business applications with Copilot. And what we can do is we can actually pull live data, we can generate reports, we can automate tasks, or we can even kick off workflows. So like the main difference between like Copilot and other AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini is that the main fact that Microsoft Copilot is already grounded into your company's data, policies, and processes. And that's where like the real ROI shows up because it's not just saving you time on like your day-to-day, it's saving time within your business, which can really drive kind of that ROI value.
Matt, you agree with him on that one? Because I got a few things I have to say, but
you go ahead.
well, I was just
feel
going
like
to
I'll
say,
talk enough here.
I was just going to ask, I mean, I've experienced the differences with an agent and AI and Copilot, and it's just such a different experience that you're getting, right? It feels like I'm talking to a colleague or a peer. It's like I'm pinging somebody on Teams when I'm trying to get that information that I'm looking for. So for me personally, I mean, that's why I would say AI is not a chatbot. I have not had the best of luck with chatbots in the past, except for Delta. If anybody's ever used the Delta chatbot and messaging app, it's fantastic. But yeah, Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm on the same train with y'all. We'll kind of get into a little bit more on, the access to data and those types of things that Copilot kind of comes pre-wired with a little bit later, I think. But yeah, it's much more than that, and I'm constantly using it as kind of a something to get the page from blank to an idea, and then refining stuff down. I don't think that's really a chatbot experience by any means. So
No, and I really don't think that chatbots want, or excuse me, that business leaders want to spend a bunch of money on an AI investment just to get a chatbot, right? So, one thing that's come up is, hold on, I've got a note over here. Okay, yeah, sorry. Back to business leaders. What should they understand before diving into implementing AI, right? Since it's not just a chatbot, what do they need to know?
Yeah. So what I would say on this one, it's very similar to other technologies, right? It's something that requires some planning. It requires sponsorship. It requires requirements gathering, all these things that I've done throughout my career in the Microsoft Partner Channel. Very similar thing there. Where it is a little bit different, as I thought about this question a little bit, employees are going to use this whether or not there's a policy or employer approval in place for that. So I did a little bit of digging around and just kind of found a neat little stat. 1 in 3 workers in the UK admitted to secretly using AI because their company may not have a policy for it in place or may not technically have it as an approved application that they can use. So I think that just kind of shows, when we're implementing, we need to consider it just like any other piece of technology. But then at the same time, we probably need to get ahead of things more as business leaders to, put some guardrails up, set some expectations for employees to use things responsibly and ethically. So.
Interesting. I've seen similar stats to that too, Matt. I think I saw 80% of employees are still bringing their own AI to work, BYOAI. I mean, you and I have had many a discussion about the comparison between ChatGPT and Copilot, which ones we like more. And one thing I like to kind of compare it to is Copilot specifically is that's who I want as a colleague when I'm using AI at work, right? ChatGPT is a little bit of that wild friend you enjoy on the weekend that you have those deep late night conversations with, your part therapist, they're distracting you from work. Whereas Copilot, I find personally, is just a little bit more of that efficient, probably, brown noser, good little colleague that keeps things straight and narrow. And that's who you want to work with technically. Yeah, there's the fun one after hours, but it comes down to data security as well, which is super important. I know we're going to be getting into that. Great. Anything you need to add there, Caleb, or are we jumping right in? Because I know the next topic's a hot one.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I rather, at least work-wise, I want to talk to my friend that knows all my emails, all my team messages, that knows what I worked on 3 months ago. It's like the smart
They're
people
nosy.
latch on at
They're
school.
super nosy. Your Copilot knows way too much. They're like, oh, you're gonna rat me out? No, it doesn't share in that kind of way. But yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I
But
love
sure,
that
am
because
I
I
gonna be
feel like I have
messaging
a terrible
ChatGPT?
memory.
What's that? What'd you say, Matt?
I said I love that because I know that I have like a terrible memory about, the 50 things
Yep.
that are coming at me every day. It's like I can kind of mentally offload a little bit of that where I don't really need to know this for now. I know I can reference back to it, and Copilot's going to catch up to it, or catch it when I need to have that information again. So.
Absolutely.
And Matt, you
Yeah,
and
for
I
sure.
sit in meetings multiple times throughout the week. We could easily just turn on a transcription and be like, oh, what did Matt and I talk about 2 months ago? So we don't have to be taking notes actively. We can just quickly reference back to it, which is nice.
Absolutely.
Anecdotally, this was probably 3 years. I'm terrible at taking notes when I'm on a call. I don't know about anybody else, but Copilot was such a game changer for me. But pre-Copilot and pre that feature of being able to summarize a meeting and take notes in Teams when you're having a meeting. I mean, we're going to get a great little recap from this, which I can't wait for. I actually used to open up a Word document and turn on dictation for meetings. And so it would capture every little word and ah with zero punctuation. But because otherwise I would just have one random, I'd have a OneNote page open and it would have 3 random words like pineapple, something completely irrelevant to the meeting. And well, that Word document at the end was probably a lot more work. I could have put it into Copilot, probably would have fixed it for me now, but I'm really grateful for that Copilot feature.
I used
Well,
to do
now that
the
we
same
know,
thing with Zoom University. I used to just pop up in Word, let it dictate, and
see,
it's like, oh, this 45, 50-minute class made like 25 pages worth of notes.
notes
But
are hard. Notes are hard.
Yeah.
I'm
You know
going
what
to
I would
pause
say?
before we go to the next one, see if we have any questions on the side. I know we want to save them for the end, but yep, we got some good ones in there. All right, just getting ready because we're going to be hitting some of those up shortly.
Okay.
Now that we
Real
know that
quick,
we're
can I
terrible
just
at
hop in for a
notes,
second?
please.
Yeah. So as I said, memory wise, I know that I don't capture everything all the time. So that's one of the big benefits that I've noticed out of Copilot is I'm much more like less reliant on my notes. I feel like I was always the guy in the meetings before that's like, okay, hold on a minute. I need to write this all down, get things
Yep.
actually firmed up in the meeting. So that's definitely a easy efficiency gain for, anyone that's like me. So
Or me. I mean, I don't know anybody well, actually, I know there's a few people on this call that are really good at taking notes and can maybe put Copilot to shame. But I remember years ago, Matt, you and I were on calls with a few folks from the product team at Microsoft. And as they were shaping out what eventually became Copilot, I forget what they called it, something like AI note transcription reader or something like that. And I remember sharing with them, it would be really helpful to do this and do that. One of them being sort of, can you read my Outlook calendar to share my availability? I mean, these products are evolving like at a rapid fire. It's crazy. I mean, that was only 3 years ago. And I look at what we're using today. It's pretty incredible. But one thing that I hear all the time, mostly, news articles, right? Headlines and also questions that came in advance of this Copilot and coffee session is AI going to replace my job? I know you guys are probably chomping at the bit to answer this one. I mean, we just talked about how we forget things and we're bad at notes and we're really just bad employees. So is AI going to replace us because we're terrible without it? Who's going to take this one? Matt, you want to start on this? You're
Yeah,
the
let me
boss.
start here.
Okay.
Sure, I'll go. I always like to say that AI replaces tasks and not people, kind of to pull the Microsoft thing in. When Copilot was kind of first rolling out, generally available to everybody, I had a chance to meet with one of the marketing leads at Microsoft on the product, and that was one of the first questions I asked is, what's this going to do? How many people are losing their jobs from this? And he said, we call it Copilot intentionally. It's meant to be an assistant to take those low level tasks off your plate so you can kind of get to those more strategic and creative and like problem solving type things that are the more high level order tasks that you need to repeat or to accomplish on a daily or weekly basis. So that's really what I've seen so far.
Cool. Caleb, what do you got? You got through college. You got your degree thanks to this. So, I'm just kidding. Keep going.
Don't tell my professors. But how I see it, and background information for everyone in the call too. So I was a former Business Central ERP consultant. So I've worked with a variety of different teams and departments across a ton of different companies. So how I've been seeing AI and how I'm kind of building some of the agents that we're designing is that we really see AI as helping employees become more self-sufficient. It's not necessarily around replacing people. It's about removing the bottlenecks that they have to deal with on a daily basis. So instead of waiting on another person or a department for answers, one, I know I'm bad with this too, is like, oh, I'm getting a request, it's not top priority, I'll get to it at the end of the day. We want to allow employees to actually go and generate the insights for themselves in real time. This ultimately will help them cut down on those like internal delays, waiting on Caleb to respond back to me, and just help speed up the decision-making process, and ultimately just keep the whole business moving faster. So it's not replacing jobs, it's just making everyone a little bit more efficient.
Sure. I sat in a session. I went, there's a local Windsor Essex Tech Alliance group around here, and there was a speaker there. He was I think he was a former editor of like Wired magazine or some tech magazine. Anyways, and this is a while ago, and I've heard this phrase later, but he said, somebody asked that same question, is AI going to replace our jobs? He said, no, but somebody using AI will. And that's stuck with me for a long time. And I've heard that repeated over and over and over again. we're there now in the world with AI. It's, everybody kind of does have to start using it, and it's ensuring that they're ready and equipped and have the knowledge, whatever role you're in, on how to do it, whether it's through training an end user or equipping your IT and security teams. I mean, it's not, happening overnight, but I think I would be shocked if there was somebody on this call, and please put it in the chat. If there's somebody on this call that has not used AI in some capacity, please put that in the chat. I would love to know what that's like now, because I'm starting to forget, because we are that generation that, we made it through. We did a lot without it, and now I can't imagine life without it. So, what are some other real world examples of employees using AI today? I think that's sort of been a missing piece. A lot of customers that we speak with are kind of afraid to take that first step because they want customer evidence. So, I mean, what are you guys seeing?
Yeah, so it can be something, I think the most like simple and base use case that a lot of people can use is like within Outlook or Teams, where you're drafting responses, you're summarizing long email chains, you're preparing for meetings with just like background information about a specific customer or opportunity, something to that extent. But then you can start getting a little bit more advanced. We've seen like kind of finance and operations teams generate forecasts in Excel, or people who aren't necessarily Excel experts start generating very complex Excel formulas. I know I used to be very bad with X lookups and V lookups. I'm like, oh, I don't have to be an
VLOOKUPs.
expert in that anymore, by leveraging Copilot and Excel. So just kind of providing these users with the tools that can just help them avoid that learning curve, I would say, is definitely impactful. And then we can kind of bring it back to those business applications. So like your ERP and CRM that you're working with on a daily basis. We're allowed to basically provide agents that can allow sales or leaders to pull information like sales information or inventory numbers directly from their ERP without having to be ERP experts. We always talk to our CEO Lee. I'm like, my number one goal is to keep you out of the ERP system as much as possible. Let him have the information on tap that he needs without having to be an ERP expert. And ultimately, you can kind of push that to the sales side. So if the sales side needs information from the ERP, or the ERP or finance team needs information from the CRM, we're able to leverage Copilot agents to go and find that information without being a business system expert, I would say.
I love it. I love it. Matt, anything to add there?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Caleb. I was just going to kind of touch on that same piece about I always think about, and we hear even internally today, like this person sits in the ERP system or this person sits in the CRM system. That's where they do their job at. They don't know anything about that other system. I think that's one of the best places where it's like, you've got situations where people might be unfamiliar, or maybe you have an application where it's like the security model of that application maybe doesn't allow you to show the small subset of data to people that you really can make available without also exposing more data. I think that's a really great use case. So I think we've got a customer that Caleb's working with right now. The sales team has to check in with the finance team on a few things before they're going through their whole quote process and figuring out how much what the cost of an opportunity is going to be for a customer. That's like a big thing for that finance team. They got to stop their day, spend 15 minutes, break things up. Context switching takes time. We all know that. But if we can, and they don't want their salespeople in their ERP system for good reason, obviously. So it's one of those things where it's like, if we can present that little sliver of information that those salespeople need to them in a quick manner, it's increasing the velocity of that sales cycle, but then it's also increasing some efficiency on the finance side by just, like I said, stopping those extra context switches throughout the day. So,
Marketing too, same thing. I mean, it comes down to the security and the permissions, which I know we're going to get to. I mean, that's such a top of mind element to all this. It's like, what sales can get access to that data just with this agent? Oh, marketing can. I mean, you, Matt, in security, anytime anybody says access permission data, I know it's got to watch out, right? But from a marketing side, not to pick apart at sales either, but if they're looking for that one pager or that most up-to-date piece of sales collateral, instead of using something that's not following our brand standards, it's from 10 years ago or whatever, doesn't have the right pricing, Well, now I have Copilot and I can create an agent that loads in all the most up to date. They don't have to ask me and bug me for it, even though I've told them 25 times where it is. They go to the agent and it links them to exactly what they need. That way, it's information to X at all times. It's pretty neat. All right, I'm going to move us along because we're getting off track. So, have organizations really adopted AI as a core worker? And what has been the practical experience thus far? This isn't a submitted question. So answer it for the audience here, Matt.
So what I would say here is we're not quite seeing this yet. One of a few different organizations actually that I follow a lot of stuff AI from, large, enterprise level corporations all the way through the small and medium sized businesses and nonprofits that we work with on a daily basis. Klarna is, I think, a really good case study in this, where they said, we're going to replace our whole customer service team with AI chatbots, this, that, the other thing. Everything's going to be agentic. We're not going to ever have to talk to it. Our customers won't ever talk to a human. They did that, and within about 6 months, they actually made the realization that was not a good customer experience for their customers. People weren't as satisfied, and now they're in the process of actually re-onboarding that team again. So I don't think we're to that spot. Is it possible? I mean, I guess anything is, right? Think about where we are today versus 3 years ago, but we're not seeing it, especially in the small and medium-sized business space. Especially when you think about those businesses with 25 to 100 employees, there might only be one or two people that's doing a job that's critical to the organization. So it's definitely much more create the efficiency for that person that's got a very specialized job so that they can do the higher value tasks that they're doing on a daily basis. So feel like a broken record because I've said that 3 times in the last 3 questions, but
it's all good, right? I mean, it is a good one. Yeah. So, Caleb, I'm going to move on to the next one. If you have anything to add, though, speak now or forever hold your peace. We've got quite a few more to get through.
I mean, we'll kind of build on top of this as we kind of work through some of the other questions, but it's really we're in a state where we want to build the infrastructure and the base for these companies to even start adopting AI. So it's working as something that's retrievable, and then we can kind of move through the spectrum of agents where now we're assigning an agent a task and we're making it fully autonomous, but that's still kind of down the line, I would say.
Got it. And that segues nicely into the next question. And I loved seeing this question come in because I'm gonna let it out there, let you guys talk about it. But what makes a business pain point turn into an AI agent? Now, before you answer it, though, Caleb, because Matt loses a point for using the agentic buzzword. Can you explain what an agent is? What's an agent? Can you explain it in like a sentence? And I'm putting you on the spot on this one, right? But what's an agent?
Yeah, so an agent is basically like an AI assistant. I would say that's probably a better word than agent, like an AI assistant.
Better than a chatbot, right? They are your assistant. Yeah.
Better than a chatbot. We're able to ground it down to specific data. So instead of just having the wide open web to go find answers, we can ground it to my SharePoint site, my ERP system, my CRM system. We can get even more granular into it where it's like, I only want to look at my customers. I only want to look at my sales invoices. So we can be very specific on what we're passing into that AI assistant. And then what we can do is we can assign certain tasks or actions that the AI assistant can do. So it's like, okay, I want my AI assistant to help me monitor my opportunities or monitoring my sales pipeline. You're able to assign it very specific tasks so that AI assistant can help you accomplish an end goal.
So I would say when does that business pain point come in?
Yeah, so this is a very common question, especially when we're talking to customers about where they currently are in the AI lifecycle, where they want to be, where they want to be a few years from now. So basically identifying those pain points and what should we start as our base use case is a very common question. So a business pain point becomes an AI opportunity or agent opportunity when it's repeatable, when it's measurable, and when it's tied directly to either lost time or revenue. So if your employees are doing the same manual steps over and over, like pulling reports, resetting passwords, or chasing down data, that's typically a signal that AI is going to thrive in those patterns. It's not necessarily fixing every single problem using AI, but it's definitely leveraging the tools that are available right now, not tools that are going to be available 2 years from now or 3 years from now. Use the tools that are available right now, and start with those bottlenecks that drain time or block growth. That's where you'll probably see like the fastest return on investment. So typically when I talk to customers, I'm looking at their business pain points. Very experienced with gathering requirements for the ERP projects. I'm typically asking, is it frequent? Is it slowing people down? Is it costing us time or money? And if the answer is yes, that's usually where it's like, okay, let's start looking at AI agent
Yeah.
to potentially solve this.
I mean, I love that. And Matt, I know what you did, and because we don't do demos on this call, we're not showing it, but you built that Spark agent, right? Let's identify our internal pain points of what they are. And I submitted a couple, right? And
Yeah.
it immediately spit out my agent use case and exactly what I needed from an agent. It told me, and you know, the way you built it, how long is it going to take us to get that up and running? What team needs to be involved? I mean, these are the sorts of things you can, it's very meta, right? Like you can use Copilot to help figure out how you can use Copilot. It's kind of incredible, but that's Spark Agent. I can't wait to show, well, no demos here, but I think that'll be really cool.
Yeah, I think that answered kind of a question from, or part of a question from Len earlier about how do you discover new ideas. I think that's kind of our idea, is our Boyer's gift to the business world is, hey, let's have you be able to come onto the site and use that Spark agent and ask you a couple of simple questions. If you don't have an idea, if you do have an idea, it can help you kind of define and round it out more to make more of a business case for it. I don't know. The other thing on that one, Len, the other thing I think about a lot of the time is like, look at stuff that you've tried to do with technology before within the business, and maybe it hasn't been so successful, and kind of see if you can imagine that in an AI agent, or using a generative model behind it to do some things. So yeah, I think that's where I'm at.
I love it. Well,
And
how
one
are
thing,
these agents? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Caleb.
the one thing I was gonna say, it's like it's nice with these kind of business pain points because we can look at it from like the pain point itself and the requirements. Like, okay, let's look at it from a technology agnostic lens, find the root cause, and then like maybe then we can throw on AI, where AI is pretty system agnostic. We can connect to any system you're currently working with to solve an issue.
Yep. It's like Copilot's our own little change management certified consultant too, helping us run through those business value assessments. I love using Copilot for that. So how are these agents that we're building going to evolve over time?
Yeah, so we kind of hinted at this, I think 2 questions ago, but if agents are going to evolve the same way your business does, by starting small and then slowly growing over time with trust and kind of the impact you see. So what we typically see with customers is we begin with like a base agent focused around information retrieval. So that's going to give users that kind of ChatGPT like experience that they might be familiar with. So like asking questions, oh, can you show me something relevant to my workout today, or something along the lines of that. But in this case, it's going to be grounded to their business data. So that's like the big difference there. Instead of it being open to wide web, it's going to be grounded to the specific area they want an agent to be embedded in. From there, we're able to expand into task ownership, like updating or creating our records. And then once we have those 2 pieces in place, we can eventually advance the agent to operate more autonomously. So how I look at this is like maybe an agent that helps identify issues within your system, like data discrepancies or data errors. And then it's actually able to go resolve them by updating or creating a replacement record and deleting the old one with the proper approval in place. So I think that's a big piece there. It's like we want to give the agent the ability to operate autonomously, but you want to have those kind of human intervention or human checkpoints where we can check that it's actually doing the correct step. It can be as simple as just giving it a thumbs up, say, yep, proceed with that. Or if you know that the process that you put in place is good to go, you can ensure the agent can just work autonomously. So it's not
You
necessarily
used
what
autonomously several times, Caleb. I'm going to need you to define it just for anybody on the call that doesn't know what that word means. I'm not going to deduct points, but tell us more about autonomous.
Yeah, autonomously. So basically running with a specific task without human interaction. So if I say, go update this, I know it's going to go update the record. I can be completely hands off. I don't have to touch the ERP system or touch the CRM system. It's going to take care of that task without me interacting with it. So it's almost like having an AI assistant coworker, AI agent coworker.
An intern.
Yeah, an
Got an
intern.
intern doing your clicks and your grunt work for you. I mean, I have trust issues, right? And I think a lot of people on this call probably have trust issues with AI. And would you say this is, again, I'm putting you guys on the spot on this one. You know, can we trust AI to do that for us, right? What about those AI
Yeah.
delusions and hallucinations and things like that? I mean, can we trust an autonomous agent? You can just give a yes or
So
no.
I would say you have to build the trust, right? And there's a couple different ways that we do that. One with that kind of human on the loop or human in the loop, where it's exactly what Caleb's talking about. Hey, I found this thing that happened. This is what I want to do with it. Is this cool?
Mhm.
And as the business gets more familiar with that, more comfortable with that enables the business then to move past that stage. The other thing on the hallucination side of things that's nice about copilots, especially when we're building in the Copilot stack, there is just the concept of grounding, which means limiting the data that is available to that Copilot. So if we're wanting to build a Copilot that is sales specific, we probably don't want to feed it any information about our HR docs. We might not want to have it even have access to general knowledge type information, right? So we have the ability to kind of rein that in. And as you kind of point the data to the correct spot, or you eliminate kind of all of those other areas that the AI agent can look at, that's when the hallucinations and those types of things are going to go down. So will you ever see less hallucinations on the like the ChatGPT, Gemini side of things, like those consumer AI products? Probably at some point. I think I just read something, some researchers at OpenAI just put out something about how they know or they think they can solve hallucinations, but we can, using business data, eliminate a lot of the hallucinations where it's like, the silly stuff that was going on first, like, oh, you should put glue on your pizza. It tastes really good or something. Gemini said that. We're not getting hallucinations that are that wild and out there by using our business data today. So
Love it.
And we can make it very granular and very specific for what we ask agents to do. So if I wanted to go create an opportunity and I only wanted to update 2 fields, we can say like you will only update 2 fields. We can box it in and make it very specific of what it can do and what it can't do. So just going through that
That's
normal like build and testing process and that feedback loop before we go live is just going to be extremely important, as it was when we were going through our typical ERP and CRM implementations.
I mean, this is really, when you think about an AI transformation for any organization, it's really no different than when people had to move to the cloud, right? They're on-prem, moving to the cloud. They have to follow that same process, right? Of, like you just said, building, testing, feedback loop. It's AI. Yes, there's differences into where we're going from where we were, but following that same strategy. And I think that's what business leaders they're feeling hesitancy with moving forward with AI, but need to be reminded that it's no different than that. So when we think about it that way, what does success look like with AI, and how do you measure ROI, and how can we do it early on?
Yeah. So I
With
can
an AI
tackle this one.
transformation, I should be clear on that one.
Perfect. So success with AI isn't just about deploying the technology out. If it was easy as that, everyone just deploys out in 365 Copilot and they're set on their AI journey for the next 10 years. It's more so about driving specific business outcomes. So the leader should really focus on adoption that moves the needle, not just rolling out tools. So depending on your company's culture, your size, and your technical appetite, success might start from one high impact use case that will make the most, I would say, time-consuming impact across the landscape, or it can be from giving access to everyone, and then you're going to let your sales department figure out how they want to use AI tools, how the finance department wants to use their AI tools. So it can kind of vary depending on how you want to roll it out and what's the appetite for technology at your company. Either way, the end goal is going to be the same. Are people using it? Is it helping the business move faster, smarter, and more efficiently? That's going to be kind of that true measure of success.
I
I'll
like it.
pause there, Addie and Matt, see if you have any thoughts there. I have another point too, but
yeah, I mean, I think you're totally right. The only thing that as I listen to you there, I always think you hit it right on the head of start small, win fast, and then just build that trust. And once you do that a couple of times, then maybe maybe the organization's ready to bite off something bigger where it's like a 6 to 9 month thing where we're going to try to do, I don't know, maybe it is replacing a whole process that's 20% or 50% of someone's job to get them doing something more meaningful. So
Well, I think business leaders are a little bit afraid to know if their people are actually using it. Matt, last time we were kind of checking in on some things, you were able to go in the back end and check out those Copilot usage dashboards, making sure that I was
mhm.
using Copilot before I actually participate in something
I
like
don't
this where we're
spy on
talking about
people.
AI. Yeah, I know you don't spy on people. I'm just saying this is available. It's part of the package here. You can actually ensure usage, you can ensure adoption, and that's a huge amount of validation for that you're doing the right thing. Or if things aren't catching, what teams or what groups need a little work, need a little help. Maybe it's
Mhm.
training, right? There's a lot of things that we had to learn along the way. I mean, we implement Copilot AI agents. We're doing all of that, but is our entire company using AI all day, every day? No, I know because I still get silly questions, and I want to say, did you ask Copilot before you asked me? Right? I'm getting into that mindset, but
The old, did you
neither here nor
Google
there.
that?
Caleb, you share your second point too.
Yeah, Matt, I love that website. Did you Google that one? We need that
Let me
Copilot
Oh
one.
Google
yeah.
that for you.
Oh, that's my
Yeah.
favorite. Oh, I restrain on not sending that to people sometimes, but now I wonder if anybody owns the domain of let me co-pilot that for you, because if
Well,
not,
they
we should
will
buy
now.
it. Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, the last thing I wanted to call out, especially when it comes to like success with AI. So early on, success might look like hours saved, the reports automated, but over time, it's going to be more so of like how much value are you able to get out of the same workforce? So are you seeing an increased output without increasing headcount? Are you seeing faster service, fewer errors, better forecasting? When you see AI starting to prevent problems before they happen, that's when you know it's actually working. You're kind of seeing the success early on.
I like it. Now, is Copilot automatically training on our business data? We're getting into
Nope.
the security fun stuff now.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, no, it does not. So, this is
Hard
one
no.
reason.
That's it. Move on.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I'm
it's
just
a it's
kidding.
a hard no. Other applications out there might, like if you're using ChatGPT, that does. So I personally flip through, and our company policy allows us to use ChatGPT and Copilot. I used Copilot and ChatGPT. I wouldn't say interchangeably. I think I'm probably 75-25 kind of a deal, but I think ChatGPT is just a little bit better on some of the coding stuff and that kind of stuff, which I'm not classically trained on. So it's a big benefit to me. But the big call out there is if you go into Copilot and you send customer data in there, that data never leaves the Microsoft tenant, and they don't train on any data. If you or on any of your customer data there, if you're going to ChatGPT and dropping in customer data, that is 100% wide open to be trained on. And that might, the negatives of that is somewhere down the line, someone might ask a question that you don't know halfway around the world 12 months later, and get some sensitive information about your customers there because they used a response that was generated or the conversation and feedback that you provided with to the agent to further improve the efficiency and effectiveness of it. Um, so it doesn't train on your data, but we've kind of already talked about it a lot. There's a ton of grounding that goes on in your data. So it's one of the best benefits there. It's got that work mode. You flip it on. You've
Mm.
got Exchange hooked up to it. It's got Teams messages hooked up to it. All your SharePoint sites that you can see. You get access to that information right away. Click of a button. So
If your security and IT team allow
correct.
it, right? It's how it is what your business needs,
Yes.
and you have the choice. And this is something we talked about a couple of weeks ago. The beauty of Microsoft Copilot is that you actually have the choice of what it pulls from and where the data goes, whereas some of these other more
Hmm.
rogue, crazy weekend, Rita, your friend that you hang out with, ChatGPT, although mine's name is Alex. I don't know if everybody else has a ChatGPT name, you know, there's no choice there. You put data in there and it goes wherever they want. Caleb, what do you want to add to that? This is a very hot
Yeah,
topic.
I think Matt and I have seen this a bunch over the past few weeks. There is a little concern around like, oh, what do we have exposed in SharePoint? We can actually just turn SharePoint off entirely for M365 Copilot as customers are kind of going through that cleansing process. So it is nice because we can get super granular with turning certain things on, turning certain things off, and just giving them the secure environment they want.
Like CRM or ERP, it's following whatever rules you set for it, right? It's
Yeah.
no different. So, well, it's a little bit different, just in how it interacts with you. But yeah, so let's keep going because we have a few questions I see in the chat and stuff that we want to save some room at the end. But this one I liked a lot. Seeing this is, how does Copilot security and compliance compare to other AIs? And I know we were kind of getting into this a little bit now. I don't know how much more time we want to spend on it, but
Yeah.
Matt, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I got a little bit there. So like we just talked about, it's not using your business data for training purposes. The other big thing we kind of touched on a little bit there with SharePoint and those types of things. I'm going to drop another techno term called Graph API. That's kind of the thing that allows all of the Microsoft applications that you touch every day to talk to each other and to figure out if you should have the information that you need.
Like a
I think the
web,
big
wink,
takeaway
wink.
here, yeah, it's like the web for your company, exactly, and all the security and applications within that. So the big thing to note here is that almost everything Copilot is, it sits on top of that Graph API. So all the security is built right into it. You're not going to get access to the leadership team SharePoint site as, you know, an entry level employee unless you're actually in that SharePoint site inside of SharePoint. So I can go get data that I might need that might be sensitive, but no one else is seeing that data because we've got it tied up behind a gate already. So
Caleb, anything to add there? We covered a lot there. We got some more
Yeah, I
security
think I
stuff to go
covered
through. Yeah.
I covered the majority of it. I know one question that came in before today's call is like, what can you do from a security aspect when it comes to like the Microsoft Admin Center? So when it comes to Admin Center, you're gonna have access to manage nearly every aspect of Copilot and the Copilot deployment usage across your organization. So that ranges from like licensing, assignment, and optimization. So it's going to call out when you have licenses that aren't assigned, just to make sure you're getting your money's worth. You're able to take a look at those like AI adoption insights, your agent management, what agents are being deployed out to your organization and whether you want them to be. Let's say I'm building a bunch of agents and I'm deploying them out, and Matt says, oh, wait, we don't want this deployed out to everyone. We can stop that from the admin center. We're able to connect to a variety of different Copilot connectors. So what Matt was kind of talking about, we can build onto the Microsoft Graph API. So say we want to pull up information from Azure DevOps or Jira or other third-party applications, we can kind of ground that into that Microsoft Graph API. We can then customize our own like search customization. So if there's certain acronyms or internal sites we need to direct, we can add that in. And then on the billing and security side, we're able to manage and set up pay-as-you-go billing. We can see usage insights. So where is it being used? Where are we spending more money? And then on the security side, we can kind of review those security settings, the integrations across different apps, visibility into data, compliance, and then set up those role-based access controls. It follows that same security setup as Microsoft does. You can manage kind of security via security groups. Matt, you know more of the IT terms than I do, but I want to say that that's it.
Standard one. All right, we're getting near the end here. And one of the last few questions we have is, how do we keep up with learning all of the new AI technologies when AI is evolving at such a rapid pace? We don't. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Who's taking this one? Matt, you want to run with it?
That's kind of my answer though. We pick a stack, right? So pick something, pick one, maybe two or three, try to kind of keep your ear to the ground on them. But there's so much different stuff out there that it's impossible to know every single AI tool. I know that I've talked to some prospects over the last month that are using some tools that I've never heard of that probably didn't exist, 6 months ago. I had a chance to sit on a roundtable probably a month and a half ago or so, and it was just a bunch of business leaders in the technology space kind of talking through AI. And I think one of the most interesting perspectives there to think about is a lot of the time in the software industry, it seems like there's this constant cycle of expansion and contraction. So a whole bunch of CRM tools 15 years ago hit the market, boom, 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 boom. There's 400 of them. Then you watch kind of the 7-year cycle and it goes, and there's now consolidated into, a handful of tools that, are the most popular. I think it's probably important to pick a stack from a reputable company that has a lot of these tools built in and that stuff already today, just because that same thing is going to happen here. You've got 1,800 different companies that are doing something that has the word AI in it. We don't know what that's going to be. And I think, the true benefit for Boyer and for our customers is that Microsoft's been here forever. They're going to be here 5 years down the road, still investing in AI, and being on the cutting edge of the technology. So
Nice. Good answer, Matt. I like that. Caleb, what do you
I'll say
got?
that.
How do you want to
Yeah.
answer that one? Follow that.
Yeah, so like Matt said, I kind of focus on my one stack. So I'm going to focus on the tools and technology that drives the ROI for our business and as well as our customers. So what that is for me, so I'm going to focus on Copilot, the different LLMs, the Microsoft business applications, and how I kind of keep up to date with all the different changes. I use LinkedIn to follow some of those Microsoft experts. My favorite being Dwayne Robinson. He's taught me a bunch about Copilot Studio, so he's a great resource. Different business-to-business thought leaders, updates from third-party business applications to see maybe what are they offering that we need to add in to ensure that our customer is getting that same experience that they might get from another app. And then I go a little bit deeper. I look into Microsoft's release waves and release plans and Microsoft Learn documentation. The one thing I will call out with these documents is that you need to pay close attention to that last updated date. With things changing so fast, what might be working on Friday that you set up a few weeks ago might not be working on Monday due to a recent update. That's just kind of the pace we're in where everything's always changing. And it's what makes it kind of fun because we're always having to adapt and learn. But ultimately, I try to stay sharp by building with the tools as soon as the new functionality is released. That's kind of where I learn the fastest by getting hands-on. It helps me identify what bugs are going to show up early and just ultimately becoming the expert before customers even ask the questions. So what I kind of tell the customers is let me do the heavy lifting, let me do the learning, let me do the building for you while you bring the ideas, the innovation, and the business pain points for us to solve. So we can kind of do that groundwork for you and then be there every step of the way.
Well, my answer is I just listen to Matt and Caleb, right? They tell me what I need to know and where I need to be. But I mean, that's not true. As a Microsoft evangelist for a very long time, I've been pretty good about knowing what sites, like Caleb said, are most up to date. I know kind of those tips and tricks. And so what I would suggest to those on the call is, we pride ourselves on a very tight partnership with Microsoft and knowledge of sort of their ecosystem, their tools, and their resources as well. And we try and connect with the product team. So, I mean, yes, this is a marketing plug, but keep an eye on our blog. Keep an eye on the information that we're putting out there because we're only going to put out what is relevant to who we think is kind of our target audience. And that would be the group that's on this call, right? So, but always happy to share more resources. And Microsoft has put out an insane amount of training and tools and resources. And they're all great. And if you ever are looking for training, not only can we deliver training for you, and we'll get into more about our resources, but Microsoft has a lot of free resources out there. It's just making sure that it is the most up to date. So for sort of the more basic early stages of AI and Copilot, definitely lean on those as you start to learn. When you're starting to think about customer evidence and understanding, okay, well, how are businesses like mine using this and how can we be more like them and get that same result? That's when you talk to us. So we can help you there. All right, we got easy questions to close it out here, and then we're going to get to a couple in the chat. But what are the latest updates with Copilot that you guys are most excited about? Caleb, you go first.
I'll make this short and sweet because I know we're short in time. So first feature I'm most excited about is Copilot for sales, service, and finance are now included with that M365 Copilot license. So before this was an additional cost or add-on license that you would need to purchase. Now they're kind of ramping up that M365 Copilot license to have even more value embedded into it for a little over $30 a month, I want to say it is.
$30
and
a month, that's pennies.
$31.50.
The steal compared to ChatGPT.
Mhm.
So a second thing is Copilot Studio agents are now much more cost effective using that M365 Copilot license. So they're going to waive a lot of the what were called messages before, but now they're Copilot credits. that came with building out agents and having them perform certain tasks. So a lot of those are going to be waived if you have an M365 Copilot license. So going to be kind of opening the door for more experimentation and scale as your business is starting to build out agents. And the final one, a little bit more techy, is that MCP servers now have integrations with Logic apps. This will allow us to build agents that trigger secure workflows, connect to APIs, and handle real-time data, all with enterprise-grade level security and governance. And it's going to be the cleanest way I've seen scale automation in Copilot Studio. So more so on the tech side, but just wanted to kind of throw that out there.
Matt, what do you got?
Okay. For me, the big news last week, OpenAI and ChatGPT, or sorry, and Microsoft just released a memorandum of understanding, essentially kind of defining what their partnership looks like over the foreseeable future here. And a couple of days later, something dropped that Microsoft made an agreement with Anthropic. So Anthropic is the Claude folks. We're going to start seeing that very shortly, where they're going to use Claude models. Microsoft, I think, did some internal analysis with the Copilot tools and noticed that Claude seemed to perform better in things like PowerPoint and Excel. And then I think Claude, as far as benchmarks go for coding, to nerd out a little bit here, is better. So they're also GitHub Copilot now has like an automatic model selection feature that will push heavy techie code stuff directly over to the Claude model. So bunch of different stuff going on there. Value that's delivered right away without anyone having to flip a switch or do anything else. So that's great.
I love it. Well, I'll just tell you what I'm most excited about, and that is seeing more agents and what you guys are doing, because I learn so much every time we sit in a Copilot training call internally. And I guess I'd say I'm most excited for episode 2 of Copilot and Coffee. We only have a couple of minutes left, and there were some questions in the chat. I have popped up some resources just so you guys know. We are going to share this recording, transcript, everything out with you, including this. So yes, it's a slide, sorry, but it was the easiest way to get a bunch of links on one place. But links to training, adoption, guides, blogs, all Boyer, all through Boyer. So we'll be sharing this with you. I'm just looking at some of the questions, guys. I don't know if you were able to check out some of these questions, if there's anything we need to follow up on looking through.
Scott has a great question. I don't know that I can answer it right now, but I'd love to have a conversation with you sometime, Scott.
I love it too. It looks like a good wordy one. So I'm going to need Copilot. I'm just kidding. It's not that long, Scott, but it's a good one. I can tell that you're already, thinking ahead here. And that's the other thing. Reach out to us directly. Obviously, I'm not going to guide you on your AI and Copilot journey, but I am going to help, happy to help facilitate and connect you with the right people here at Boyer. We'll be following up with you with these resources and the recording, but there were some other questions in here, and I see names, so we can reach out to you directly to make sure you get them answered. Maybe propose a call if it's a little bit more. Maybe it's a 15-minute chat. Maybe it's something where we need to get a little deep dive done with you. So we will be answering these, and we will be having another session. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We tried not to go down too many rabbit holes, buzzwords. I think we did all right. I didn't do well on the slides, but I'll do better next time. Cool. I mean, we still have 2 minutes, technically, if anybody does want to add anything here, Caleb or Matt. I'm done with my coffee.
Yeah,
Tins.
I mean, custom agent wise, we have Boyer Essential Agent, we have Smart Stock, and we have Instant Insights, but we are constantly building agents. So if there's any ideas that you have, you need a little assistance with at least trying to figure out what it looks like as you're going through the build process, or you need someone to actually help you build, we're there every step of the way as you go through your AI journey. So feel free to reach out and we can definitely help you.
Yep, we love training. Oh, I forgot one thing. Another resource for all of you. Totally forgot about this. I need to plug it. Microsoft AI Tours. They are hitting up a bunch of cities. They're free to attend. You just have to register. They're local, they're in person, and they are like, we did 2 or 3 of them earlier in the year. And so they've just done another series. There's one in Chicago next week. We'll be there. There's one in Toronto. on October 1st. We'll be there. I'll put the link out. It's just like MSAI tours. That's another great place to connect with end users and hear kind of, you know, front and center, up-to-date information on AI and Copilot. So those Microsoft AI tours. And Jeff, I see Jeff is in. Jeff and I went, we sat in some great sessions. He's in the chat here. I'm pretty sure the quote I love to say from Jeff is, you know, he sat in one of those sessions at the AI tours, blown away, and said, this is really going to help me scale my nonprofit business because AI is allowing us to get resources that we don't have budget for right now that we've wanted for years. So, I mean, you know, you can learn a lot at the AI tour as well as the UG sessions coming up in October. Boyer will be at the UG Summit in Orlando talking about AI and, spoiler alert, throwing axes. We have the axe throwing booth. So if you're going to be there, please reach out and let us know. Otherwise, we will see you at our next Copilot and Coffee session. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks all.
Thank
Bye.
you.